Andy, have you ever been to a NASCAR race or anything like that?
I have never been to a NASCAR race. I thought about that when I was in Daytona this summer. We passed by the Daytona Speedway, and I was like, I probably need to do that, but I have not yet.
Yeah, I've heard different stories about it. Look, I like watching the races sometimes. I haven't watched as much NASCAR. We always used to watch IndyCar on Memorial Day. So we'd always go to Memorial Day with my grandfather,
Yeah,
and the Indianapolis 500 was on, and I started to know some of the racers and stuff like that. But like it's hard to watch like lap after lap after
yeah,
lap, right?
yeah.
But the only reason I say this is because they have the Charlotte Motor Speedway here, and every year they convert the speedway into a light drive-through light show,
Oh, fun.
and and you go on to the racetrack, and that's part of it, and then the infield, and then you actually go through the concourse because the concourse is quite wide. It was awesome. It was really fun, and then they have like a little village in the middle, and it was really a fun time. But I have to tell you, Andy, the it looks like obviously a circle around the racetrack.
Yeah,
But you realize the corners are like I mean, it's an unbelievable angle. It's like 45-degree angle as you go around. And so when you come on to the track, you start going in, and then you start getting onto the angle, and it starts like you're like, oh, this is pretty steep. And it gets even worse. And I'm like, you would never know that from just watching it on TV. It's
yeah,
quite fascinating to see.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those sports. One, I think it's really cool to do the Christmas lights here. I think it's a really cool idea. But for the sport itself, it's why I have a hard time getting to, just because like I love driving fast. I have a great respect for them. They can handle those turns, at those crazy speeds. But like as a sport to watch for me, it's just so hard to like get engaged. Like dudes driving cars, there's no.
Yeah.
Well, I get that that's hard at those speeds. Like the athleticism of traditional sports isn't the same, and the fight isn't the same. It's happening. I know they're fighting and jockeying for position. I get it, but it's just different than my
Yeah.
team versus your team. We're going to win, you're going to lose. It's just a totally different approach to things. So it's very interesting. I do want to check it out. I think it'd just be fun. And I've heard that the intensity as the cars make the pass is supposed to just breathtaking. Like just supposed to be just amazing as these guys whiz by you. So maybe I've got to check out the Christmas lights. Maybe I've got to check out a good race.
Yeah, yeah, maybe it was because it's amazing. 150, 200 miles an hour around
Yeah.
those things. I like to think I drive fast sometimes, but man, that's crazy stuff. So, anyways, a fun little night for us
Yeah.
to go through. But Andy, I will tell you, I think we're starting to see like you can notice that if you're paying attention, you can notice the things playing out in real time. Like the effects of the economy playing out. We went to dinner afterwards, and like we don't often go out to dinner, sit down any places, but I've been noticing that like the service at places is really tough. And it's not because the people are doing bad things. It's because one, there aren't enough servers anymore because the salaries are not as competitive as they can be. And I think people
Yeah.
are looking for more opportunities than just, what a waiter or a busboy may pay. And the other thing I notice is like young people are not in these jobs anymore. We've
Yeah.
talked about that a little bit before. And it's older people who are trying that second and third side hustle to try to make ends meet. And I have to tell you, like the food was great at the place we went to, and the waitress was great, but like we saw her like three times the whole time because she's serving 10 tables, which I
Yeah.
think is probably a little bit more than normal. I have to, and again, this is not a scientific Dave Pounder, like a scientific poll. The economy is going bad because Dave had slow service at a restaurant, but it just these are like the little cracks in the armor of a plus economy, Andy.
Yeah, no, it's very fair, and I think that is sort of the cascading impact of the wild actions of this administration. Like it takes a while to feel them through the system, and like a restaurant's a good example of that, right? I mean, like a lot of the staff doing some of the basic jobs, from washing dishes to bussing tables to helping in the kitchen, are individuals that may be targeted by ICE raids, right? A lot of immigrants, legal or otherwise, intimidated and maybe not coming into work. And that has a cascading effect on others that are doing other jobs that are now bussing their tables and helping more with dishes and like helping things. So it does affect things. And I think, even sort of the non-scientific observations of the reality around us is there are effects. There are effects. And between an economy that isn't doing great, right? I mean, it isn't doing it. I mean, the A plus comments, there's so much smoke being sent by such information, so much just distortion of reality. But the economy isn't killing it right now. People are having a hard time looking for work, and there are jobs that aren't being filled, and we're exacerbating those challenges because we're making a lot of people uncomfortable to come to work, especially when towns like yours experienced aggressive ICE raids. Now New Orleans, now Minneapolis, right? And we're attacking American citizens, we're attacking legal immigrants, residents, and it's being done in the name of safety, just like the military strikes in Venezuela. Like it's being done, but it's not being done the right way. It's not really being done ethically. It's not being done responsibly. It's not being done transparently. It's not being done with accountability, and it's just chaos. And so you can say yes, we've reduced crime. You can say yes, we've lowered the flow of drugs into the country, but how you do things matters. And this administration doesn't care how it's done. They just want to be able to say we're doing this, and while they're doing it, they're having so many detrimental effects across so many other areas, right? To include basic things like people come into work. I think we do see it. So I think there's very real observations.
Yeah, and like I'm going to hit on the Venezuela thing. Like, I want to be very clear. Like, eliminating drugs movement and cartel activity and all that other stuff, like that is a good thing. Like, there is a place in the world for that, right? But again, it's the transparency and the manner it's been done. I think that's a really good point you made because it's not being done in full transparency. It's being done as saying, I'm going to take lethal action on these things and do them in a manner that really isn't becoming
Yeah,
of our country.
yeah,
And it makes us look really awful in a lot of ways. Now, again, the intent of reducing drug flow, whether it's coming to the United States or going to Europe or wherever, I don't really care. Like I want that to stop. The illegal border activity, I want that to stop. That there are positive steps that are made there, but the side effects of all of those other things just really damaging. And again, we're seeing that in people are not coming to this country, people are not investing in the country. European travel to the United States has dropped. If you see some of the statistics, it's like a cliff, Andy. I
yeah,
mean, it's basically, and that over time is going to have a long-term impact here. And you can say, JD Vance is like, we want you to come here, but we want you to leave as soon as possible. Like, that's not America that's welcoming. The idea about, when people are coming, like this idea, like buying your way into the country now with this gold visa or whatever the hell we're calling it,
yeah.
and doing these social media checks to make sure you don't say anything negative about America. Where is the old adage of Lady Liberty? Like, bring me your, poor, bring me downtrodden. Like that's what made America great, and we're thumbing our nose at it today.
Yeah, no, that's right. And Dave, with policy issues like drugs, like the border, like whatever, again, it goes back to how you do it. And we are a democratic nation, we're a republic, right? And so there's a way to do things. And it starts with like one, administration should identify what its priorities are. And especially when you have the majority in both houses of Congress, you then work with Congress to craft policy, right? And then you execute that policy with the full consent of the people representing the people of the United States of America, right? And so there's national mind. And the reality is Americans do want a secure border, right? On drug policy, like we can have differing views on drug policy, but we can have a discussion about it, agree to what's best, and then execute that plan, whatever that is. And that's what's missing is this a president that is just taking reckless, lethal, dangerous, unaccounted for actions at home and abroad without the consent of the people. And it's violent, it's dangerous. So people might agree. People might agree, like, hey, we've got to stop the drug trade in America. Okay, how are we going to do that responsibly? How do we do that ethically? How do we do that as a nation that stands above other nations for our integrity, our responsible ethical behavior internationally, and we don't look like Russia invading our neighbors? There's a way to do these things. There's a way that the United States of America as a republic does these things. And this president, he wants to say that he doesn't want to be a dictator. He wants to say that he's not trying to be a king. He's trying to act like a king who can sign executive orders, whether he has the authority to do a given action, like giving people a pardon at a state level, right? He's trying to do things that go beyond his authority constantly, daily, and without the consent of the governed. And that's not how this nation works. That's the biggest issue. We can agree or disagree about specific policy issues, but the way that things are done is not being done the way that the American Republic does it.
Yeah, it's just it's really it's really tough. So, okay, Andy, I'm going to give you the option here
Okay.
of picking a couple a couple. What do you want to talk about here, Andy? Do we want to talk about the MAGA Civil War, the influencer debates that are ongoing? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It literally is a civil war going on for the fate of the MAGA movement. Do we want to talk about Trump's unhinged rants, especially about talking about the media and how they're treasonous
Yeah.
and seditious and how they
Vicious.
should be locked away? Or do we want to talk about like Chinese toys that talk about S&M and all Chinese Communist Party lines about Taiwan and so on? Where do you want to go, Andy?
Dave, you give me those options. I'll be honest, I don't know if I've got the stomach for any more administration talk. You're talking about AI robots talking to children about BDSM. I can't turn that away, Dave. I've got to take option C. I've got to take that one.
Okay, all right. So you really want to go here, Andy. So this is
Listeners need to know about this stuff, Dave. Listeners need to know about this stuff.
Yeah, it's always fun to get kind of some of this stuff out in the open. But this is you forwarded me this link yesterday.
Yeah.
This is a public interest research group tested some of these LLM, large language models, toys ahead of Christmas, and they did some good reviews on this, but they also found some of these AI toys, you know, talking about sex, talking about maybe some S&M and such, and like whipping and what's your personal preference and so on. There's a great video of it, by the way. But then there's also, talking about if you ask it a question about Taiwan and its legal status, you start to hear the Chinese talking points come
Right.
out about how it's not a legal entity and it belongs to China. It's quite amusing. And then finally, there's ones that even look like the chairman himself. So fun stuff there. Are you going to be lining those things up for
Oh yeah. I'm gonna get a whole bunch of them so I can bootleg sell them for like, triple the price when, more parents want Chinese propaganda and sexual conversation coming from these very uncuddly looking toys. I mean, they're not, you know what I mean? Like you think of a kid, you want to give them a toy, like you think something they can snuggle up with, cozy, drag along the floor. These things look like little monsters. I mean, they're not cute and cuddly, but it's just amazing, like what's coming out of their mouths. And this isn't the first time. Like, well, these are funny because they're sort of, towards China.
Yeah.
All these connected devices, like they've all been exposed. Now, I can't say all, but many have been exposed to be able to sort of fall into these traps of getting into conversations that kids shouldn't be having. And I
Yeah.
say that like without at least their parent knowing about it, right? At least mom and dad should know what the conversation is. And there's not any filter on these things. So they're being able to have conversations, like I said, about fetishes and BDSM and what. Listen, for an adult, like whatever you want to get into, hey man, power to you. If you want to, put on your gimp suit and get whipped by, mistress whoever, like
Bring
that's
out the
fine.
gimp.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not judging. Whatever gets you off is that's your business. But you probably don't want your 3-year-old having that same conversation, unfiltered, unsupervised, with a, strange looking rabbit doll, right? And that's part of the risk we run here, and we live in an age where, from our time growing up, Dave, as technology increased from, video games, right? And the Game Boy was the biggest threat because we were spending time playing, handheld games, to a time when, parents do let the phone babysit their kids a lot more than they used to, right? And so kids sit with their tablets or their phones and they're playing games, and mom and dad are maybe paying a little bit of attention, but they're doing a million other things. And now you've got this cool talking robot, right, that you're going to give to little Johnny. And people aren't necessarily paying attention to what little Johnny's hearing. And they can be manipulated and say things and encourage things. And while we sort of make fun of all that, like I don't really want political talking points from the People's Republic of China coming to my family, to my kids. Like I want to know what's being said. And as parents step back, like this, it's kind of uncomfortable, dangerous territory here.
Yeah, you talk about that. I can't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or just in my normal day-to-day conversation. 60 Minutes did a great discussion on AI
Yeah.
and these chatbots, and this is very similar to that because these kids are developing relationships with these chatbots, and it gets to the point where, especially if a kid is going through a tough and troubled time, they may ask things of it about being lonely and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. And some of these chatbots have come out and, in some no uncertain terms, have advocated helping somebody commit suicide. And
Yeah.
there have been kids who have committed suicide after engagements. When they look at these chat logs, you can see very clearly how that has progressed. And you also mentioned, like, parents, we've like ceded control to the tablet sometimes, and that was when they were playing games or watching videos.
Yeah.
Now it's a real interaction, and you've heard, like, we kind of laugh at it and smirk at it, like, oh, this person is marrying their AI chatbot or whatever. But the reality is like there is a lot of connection being developed
Yeah.
between machine and human, especially those who are vulnerable. And I think parents and everyone needs to start opening up about, and understanding that these are dangerous combinations at times. And yeah, we kind of joke about this toy, but the reality, the underlying problem is very much as you described, Andy.
Yeah. No, it really is. And there are other, related threats that are, potential hazards for parents and families alike. So, we've from a long time we've talked about like where you've put, cameras in some of these devices and toys, and those can be manipulated, and suddenly somebody's able to observe, inside your nursery, inside your child's bedroom. Like we just want to think about, when we go holiday shopping here, what the risk we're bringing into our home that could, not be what we want for our kids, right? And so I think for parents, really important. And then on the other side of things, besides the personal relationships we're making, just staying with the idea of being online. I mean, there are a lot of other hazards. I think if I don't think a segment is necessarily meant to be a parental PSA, but it is important that parents are engaged and aware of what their kids are exposed to on Instagram, in chat rooms, on Discord, with their AI activities and toys. Like there's a lot of danger out there. There always has been, there always will be. But we can't just like turn off our ability to pay attention to these things because it's there's a lot more violent action coming, self-harm, sexploitation, manipulation, and the comfort with which people are sending sexually explicit photos and things of that nature. Like it just creates a really dangerous environment that can lead to real consequential harm for children and families, and it's documented as being very real. Like parents do need to stop and think about these things. It's funny. I mean, these are funny toys. It's fun to make fun of them, and your Chinese talking points are entertaining to a certain extent. But it's also there's a lot of real danger in it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, good segment there, Andy. But and you didn't pick it, but like the unhinged Trump posts
Yeah,
are quite
wild,
good these days,
wild.
Andy. I would just encourage everyone to strip off the header about who it came from. Just read these posts in and of themselves. And I know the White House isn't doing transcripts of things anymore because I think if you put a transcript down, you would really like what the fuck is he talking about? Really see how unhinged this president has become. And I will say there's some quite funny people on Instagram or wherever where they read or they act out what Trump said. And it just sounds fucking crazy. If you take away the man, you just listen to the words. Oh my God, it's
It's
fucking crazy.
insanity. It's constant bluster and threats and madness that comes out of this guy. I mean, the
And just like nothing, like rambling of shit. Like,
rambling, telling us how amazing he is, right? How his health is unprecedented. He's, I mean, great health. I mean, again, like just denying, like we see you, man. I mean, you look like shit, right? You're bandaged up. You're hobbling around. You look like garbage. You're wearing so much fucking makeup. RuPaul can't keep up with the level of makeup this man wears. I mean, it's just insane. And then the commentary is just it's completely unhinged. Now threats being made to the state of Indiana because their political party won't go along and
yeah,
support this gerrymandering plan. like just the constant pressure and power grab and abuse and threats and tirades, whether they're coming, in true social posts from the president, in unhinged speeches and comments being made by the president, or with the administration now starting to get out on the circuit, right? They're on Good Morning America, they're on the Sunday talk shows, they're on Today Show, and just the nonsense that comes out of their mouths, like what is happening? This distortion of reality. Americans are being asked to deny what's right in front of them. That's why, Dave, there's a poll that came out, I think it was yesterday. 31% of Americans now support this economy. They think that the economy is in the right direction. 30, like that's terrible. Like that is a terrible number, right? You're less than a third of Americans, almost into the 20s. Like Americans are looking around saying, this isn't working for me. The tariffs aren't working for me. The way we're cutting jobs isn't working for me. The things that are being done are raising prices for the most part. I can't find a job. People are frustrated. And this administration is like, no, no, it's going to be fine. Wait till next year. The tariffs are going to pay for everything. It's just like, what are you talking about? It's completely disconnected from reality.
Yeah. The farmers have lost 40 some odd billion dollars in revenue this year, but they gave them a 12 billion dollar handout. Maybe if we didn't do all that impact, we
Yeah,
wouldn't need to spend 12 billion dollars more, but we're making so much money, Andy.
so
It's
much money.
unbelievable. Hey, have you gotten your tariff checks?
I didn't get it. I'm looking for it.
Oh, I thought we were getting them.
Yeah.
What about your Doge check, Andy?
No.
Oh, I thought we were getting. Oh, President said we were getting those, didn't he?
No, that was Elon Musk. It must have been Elon Musk. That guy, somebody else, wasn't the president.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind. Okay. All right, Andy, let's wrap up on this Friday with some football talk.
Let's
Andy,
do it.
the the city of Charlotte and the states of North and South Carolina are like in a state of euphoria right now.
Yeah.
Why? Because last night the Atlanta Falcons, the lowly Atlanta Falcons,
Eliminated from the playoffs, Atlanta Falcons.
eliminated from the playoffs, down 28 to 14 in the fourth quarter
Yeah.
in Tampa Bay, came back and pulled off a miracle. They came back and won 29-28 on the last second field goal. And now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I really like a lot about this team, and I want them to be successful, except for this year.
Yeah.
They're 7-7. They now are a half game behind Carolina, who plays, I think it's the Saints this weekend.
Yeah.
So Carolina wins this weekend. They got a one-game lead. Two of their remaining games are against Tampa Bay. This is woo down. This Carolina is looking like they could have, all of that bad mouthing of Bryce Young, all of that bad mouthing about where they're going and all this other stuff. And here they are on the cusp of making the playoffs. It's exciting. At least it makes it fun for the city, Andy.
It is exciting because I think nobody was really anticipating this, right? I mean, the Panthers sucked last year,
Yeah,
and so
no.
like,
The last 3 years or so,
yeah,
it's been
I mean,
awful.
it's just it's a rebuild, and it's like, hey, it's going to take some time. You get a young coach in, you're going to start building this team back up. But there's so much like room for improvement. They are not expected to be a division winner. And look, the AFC South blows, right? I mean, the AFC South is one
The
of the worst.
NFC South, yeah.
And I'm saying NFC South is one of the worst divisions. The AFC South kind of blows too. All those teams starting to play well, but yeah, the NFC South is it's just a bad division. Nobody's really emerged as a real contender. The Falcons have looked good. The Bucks have looked good. The Bucks aren't playing to the level that we thought they were going to this year, where they started out looking really strong, just not getting it done. And now all of a sudden, like the Panthers are in control of their own destiny and can secure a playoff spot and potentially even, I mean, doubtful, but they could get a higher seed. It's really remarkable, and I'm really excited for the city because like it really has been a long bad run for Carolina, and it is exciting to see Bryce Young getting some success. Your new young coach Dave Canales coming from Tampa, if I recall, having some success. Like it's really great to see, and it shows again the unpredictability of this NFL season. All you got to do is make the playoffs, and it's anybody's ball game. Even the Panthers have a shot.
Yeah, they do. They certainly do, and it's going to be very exciting to see how this plays out for them. Andy, the other big story, I think, and I don't think we've hit this already, but Philip Rivers, who's up for the Hall of Fame induction, and he's likely going to make the Hall of Fame. I don't know if it'll be this year, but at some point he'll make it. Just a really amazing career, even though he never won in the playoffs that much. Just an amazing quarterback. He might be in line. He might have to defray his Hall of Fame eligibility because if he goes on the active roster, which I think, he can't go into the Hall of Fame, but he might be the Colts starting quarterback in a
Yeah.
couple weeks,
Yeah,
Andy.
and possibly the playoff-bound Colts, with 44-year-old grandfather
I
Philip
know.
Rivers, at the helm. Look, we're in an NFL right now where Aaron Rodgers is leading a current division leader and a playoff contender. You've got Joe Flacco, who's become this journeyman success where he goes and plays good football wherever he goes. Guys are getting it done, and it's exciting. I mean, Dave, I think I might go out for Lions training camp next season and see if I can get on the D line. I mean, like, there's a chance for all of us now at this point. But I think, look, if in a league where anybody can win this year, and a Colts team that like has looked really good at times. Philip Rivers was a good quarterback. His team, his
Yeah.
coaching was just terrible. I felt bad for the guy, but he's always been very talented. Could he come in rested, only having to play a few games, and potentially give the Colts a jolt to make a real run? If my Detroit Lions came in the Super Bowl, I would love to see Grandpa Rivers lead the Indianapolis Colts to victory and glory in San Francisco. Like that would be unbelievable. So I'm excited about it. I know he's on the practice squad right now before they can elevate him, but like this is a Cinderella story.
Yeah, it really is, and tragically, the Colts were having a really fun year, and they've really fallen off in the last couple weeks, and then they lost Daniel Jones to that really bad injury that ruined his season, and then the backup is also pretty injured here. But Andy, this is crunch time here. We've got a lot of really big games coming up here. Every game for your Detroit Lions is important. They have a win. They're 8-5 right now, and they could be on the outside looking in when it comes down for it. How are you feeling these last couple weeks?
Stress, Dave. Stress. The biggest game is coming up this weekend. Afternoon game on Sunday. The Lions have to go out and play their old quarterback, Matt Stafford, and the LA Rams, who are maybe the best team in football right now. A lot of folks are still trying to decide, like, could the Lions get the victory here? And they can. But look, the Lions have been a little circuit right now of win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. They just won. They won big against the Dallas Cowboys in a must-win game. They really don't have a lot of margin. I mean, they're only a little bit back. They could still potentially win the division, or they could be on the outside if they can beat these Los Angeles Rams this week. And I think they can. Detroit can win this game. Then they're really in a position to win. I mean, the Packers have a tough game coming up. The Bears can always fail because they're still not really as good as their record says. But this is going to be a tough one. This afternoon game, this Sunday afternoon game is a really, really big one. So I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I'm hopeful, but I'm not confident.
Yeah, but it's gonna be down to the wire. And as for my Cowboys, they're out of a wild card. Like the loss to the Lions kicked them out of the wild card. But the Eagles keep losing,
Yeah.
Andy. So they're still weirdly in it for the
Division. Yeah.
division. Now, the Eagles play the Commanders 2 of the last 4 weeks. They play the Raiders as well this weekend, and it's highly likely that I mean, it's very unlikely that the Eagles are going to lose the bulk of those games. Cowboys have to make up effectively 2 games in the standings. They're 1 game behind, 1.5 games because of the tie. So really, the Eagles have to lose twice, and the Cowboys really have to win it all, win out here
Yeah.
to make it. So it's possible the Cowboys have a weak schedule too, but I just don't see the Eagles losing multiple times here. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Exciting games. The Chiefs still weirdly in it. They have to win out and get some help from the Chargers and some others, but we'll see how these last couple weeks play out. 4 more weeks. Are you getting sad, Andy? Or are you? I mean,
No, I'm getting excited because I love the playoffs so much. I love
yeah.
that, like it's so exciting. So I mean, yeah, there are still. I mean, there's still so many possibilities. A few teams are out, and I love seeing Kirk Cousins, leading his Falcons to victory in a game that really doesn't matter to them, but still fighting and being that spoiler. Like I love the spoiler role. But as you're going to see, I mean, the Ravens can still potentially win their division, even though they're potentially like way out of playoff contention too. It's just a wild run here. So these last 4 weeks, you know, every game is so impactful. It affects positioning, it affects playoff viability, it affects who gets a bye week, it affects who's playing who. It's just so exciting to see it shake out and for teams to come in and get that upset and throw things into a loop is just so fun to watch. So these games are going to be really exciting. And then once we hit playoffs, like it's just going to, I think it's going to be a really fun one because I don't think there is at all a clear and confident, lead right now. I think again, the Rams are probably the best team in the NFL right now, but anybody could be anybody. So, who's going to show up in San Francisco for the Super Bowl? Who's going to win that game? No idea. No idea.
No idea, no idea. But catch Panther Fever, Andy. Catch Panther Fever.
I'm excited for them. I will be cheering for the Panthers if they can get there.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be great for the city. All right, Andy. With that, it was a good week. Good week here, and hope you have a good weekend. Enjoy New Music Friday out there. You got
Right.
your Black Key shirt on.
Right.
So enjoy that. And with that, I will catch up with you on Monday.